Okay, this week I want to talk to you about a misconception in golf about the grip, okay? And we used to call it the neutral grip or palms opposing grip. And I want to teach you how it's probably holding your game back. 90% of golfers really need to be doing the grip that I'm advocating, that I push, yes, and you can play from the other grip. But I want to show you how this new grip is going to actually help improve your golf game dramatically. So come on, let's go do this. Okay, so we've often heard the term, you can't play good golf without a good grip. And we were taught for many years the Varden grips and the standard neutral grip, okay, where it was believed that the palms needed to be opposing and facing each other in order to be able to square the face up correctly to the swing. And yes, you can play that way, and certainly some great golfers do play this way. But ideally what we're seeing now with modern technology and how swings work is that ideally it's not really the right way to do it. Now, I'm advocating this slightly different change in grip because of working on how the body works and how the arms move and how everything's working around, and how from how I swing it now, it really has made a massive dramatic difference to my game, and I'm hoping it will do exactly the same for you. Now, I'm just not saying though that this is the right way or the wrong way, but what I'm saying is that you need to try it in order to understand it, okay? And it's really important. Now, one of the things we were taught for a lot of years really was, like I said, you needed to have the palm, the back of your left hand facing towards the target, or the badge here on the left hand. You wanted to see two knuckles on the back of the left hand. Your thumb was pretty much on top of the shaft or slightly to the right hand side, and you were gripping it sort of diagonally through from the fingers into the base of or into the heel of the hand. So the fleshy pad up here was sitting on top, and you created this short thumb look, which, yeah, I mean, that for me is comfortable. I've done that grip for a lot of years. And then your right hand was also matching the palm of the left hand, so it was neutral or neutralized, and that the palm of the right hand was facing towards the target, and that was deemed to be a neutral grip, okay? And this was deemed to be that way for a long time, but what we've seen an emergence of on the tours and so forth is players, especially young athletic players, with a very strong left-hand grip. And there's a reason for this, all right? And this is something that I pretty much advocate now. I was a 20-plus year player playing with a neutral grip, but I'd often hit a bit of a weak shot, and I was having to manufacture or compensate for this weak grip, okay? So ideally you want to put your left hand in a position that it hangs in a natural position. Now, if I stand here with my left arm, I'll take my right arm away so you focus on my left, and I just let my hand hang naturally down in front of me. I'm in golf posture here. You can see how my palm faces inwards, and this is how my joints align, okay? And if I was hitting something, my joints would naturally align that way. If I was bashing the end of this club into a bag, I would naturally have them align up in this point here. I wouldn't hit with the back of my left hand into the target. I wouldn't stand and hit it this way, okay? It wouldn't feel comfortable and it wouldn't feel powerful. I'd hit it this way with the heel of my hand leading to offer support, so that my thumb can offer support behind the hit as well, okay? And this is how I'm going to create power. But this is how I would hit most things. If you was playing other sports, for example, if you was playing baseball, I would hold the bat up here, and then when I hit, you'd hit with the back of your hand facing up to the sky, not with it bowed, as most people are teaching nowadays, bowed, and also with the back of the hand facing towards your target. You wouldn't hit that way, okay? It's a compromised joint, as we call it. It's weak. A lot of golf tournament players end up with wrist injuries over time, and they always put it down to hitting off turf all the time, hit lots of shots. Well, yeah, if you're repeatedly doing this, you are compromising that joint, so over time you will do damage to ligaments. This way is a lot stronger and actually a more reliable way to hit to cause you less injury, all right? So it's how the joints naturally line up. And you can find this grip by just letting your arm hang down in front of you and just bringing the hand to the side of the grip here. And you can see when I put mine on now, my left hand is in a very strong position, all right? It feels comfortable from here. Makes the shaft run up in a straight line up to my left arm and my left shoulder. And I feel like I've got a natural shaft lean here already. And I can see 1, 2, 3, maybe even half a knuckle back here in my left hand. That's the visual that I get. And my thumb sits comfortably just down to the right hand side of the grip. The V here is pointing probably up towards my right shoulder, okay, and that's where I feel quite strong and quite comfortable with this. With the old grip, if I put it in here, with the old grip, what we found was, as soon as you put momentum into the swing and you put forces into the swing, and I'm pushing my left hip out the way and my joints line up and the weight of the club or the momentum of the club is forced away from me here, what we found is that the club face ended up being in an open position. So I have to do something later on in the swing here somewhere to try and compensate for that, and it often led down to a rolling of the forearms or the wrists. All right, now what you see, somebody like Brooks Koepka or Dustin Johnson, they don't have that forearm roll as such through the shot. They do eventually up here somewhere, but the ball's gone then, but they have more of this throwing action. And my right hand works as a pusher and as a thrower, and that way then I'm going to be more accurate more often, and I can hit it harder, okay? So a lot of it stems from the left hand first. You've got to just let that find its position. Also, it goes more into the finger joints, okay, so it lays across the fingers. A great way to find this is if you take hold of the club and just put the club on your shoulders and let go of the club a bit, you'll see how the grip naturally pulls up into the fingers, and then you can take hold of it. You wouldn't hold it up here in the palm, because if you let go of it, it would just naturally fall into the finger joints. It hooks on by those fingers. That's just going to create better leverage in the wrist so that you can hinge the wrist better and you can unload it better and hit the ball further. All right? So it's very important. This is what holds a lot of golfers back. Now, one of the other main things though that we see holds golfers back is they don't like to change their grip. It feels different, it feels awkward, it feels uncomfortable to do so, but you've got to bear with it. Change isn't easy, but you've got to repetitively just keep applying the club, letting go, applying, letting go. The more you do something, the more comfortable you become with it. And when you're hitting shots, go easy on yourself. Don't stand there and think you're going to hit it absolutely perfectly. Tee it up if you had to. You know, take a 7-iron. I've got here a 7-iron, or you can take an 8-iron, something like that. Something that's just going to give you a little bit of good feedback, but at the same time, you're not got the pressures of hitting it fantastically straight and beautiful straight away. It will come, but you've just got to get past that initial barrier or that uncomfortableness that you go through. If you can do that, I promise you, you will hit the ball better. So the left hand goes on in a stronger position. The right hand goes on, and yes, the palm of the hand does want to marry up with the club face. Okay, so I've got a bit of this sort of motion going on really with the left hand and that one there. This thumb does sit beautifully though inside that little creasy. I create this pad here when I push my thumb down. It sits beautifully in that position there nicely, so it works nicely. And I did a little clip on Instagram the other day of how the wrists work. So my wrists work with my left hand working in this manner, or this hitting manner, okay, and my right hand works in this throwing manner. So they work in harmony this way through the shot. And what you'll notice when I do this is I don't have any forearm rotation, okay. My forearms stay relatively neutral, and this enables me to keep the club face squarer for longer, okay, and you can hit it harder in the knowledge that it's not going to go too far offline, all right. So it just takes a bit of practice. It took me a little while to get used to it because I was such an adamant one for getting the perfect grip. I used to stand there for hours practicing the grip in a pro shop, you know, constantly going through the two knuckles. But my weak shot was always often a slice out to the right, so then I'd overcompensate for that, and I built in this mechanism of rolling the wrists through to try and square the face off. I'm not saying you can't play that way, because you certainly can, all right. But what I found with that is it becomes a little bit inconsistent, and if you're not practicing regularly enough, then you're going to find it a struggle. So what I always do now is I go through like a bit of a grip routine, and I suggest you do the same thing. I'll take hold of the club. You can do it away from the ball. I'll take hold of the club. I just let this arm hang down, and I'll just put it in to that neutral position. This is my neutral, natural position. It's going to vary for some golfers to others, but for me now I can see up to 3 to 4 knuckles almost. I'll put my right hand on in this position here. I can feel that. It feels quite nice and strong now for me here. My right hand's in a great position though, because it's on top of the shaft, it's in the fingers. I can feel that pressure leading in here. And I'm just going to get used to hitting it. I can feel those wrists hinging, and I can almost do that from the off. So I'm just going to swing back. and through. And for me, when I do this, golf shots or golf balls tend to go fairly straight. This was a change that I made when I started working with Mike Malaska, because he's my coach and mentor. And I found that it was a big change, and it was something that he discovered as a kid because he was a baseball player, that he used to play that way naturally, but over time, which happened to me, over time, you'll get taught to go back to, oh no, you've got to do the right grip, all right? You've got to have a neutral grip, all right? Yes, like I say, for some golfers it's relative, but for most of you though, 90% of you, you've got to find your natural grip, which is left arm sits in a much stronger position, so that when forces are applied and I put my forces into it, my arm's already hanging in it, all my joints are lined up, so my club face is going to remain square. If I do the neutral one and I wind it up, my club face turns open naturally, okay, because my joints all line up this way. And I'm from here, if I just turn the club head in, that's where I want to be. I don't have to manufacture anything in order to change the swing. Okay, so it takes a bit of time. It's well worth visiting and it's well worth working on. But I promise you, if you get the grip correct, you'll start hitting very good straight shots. Okay, middle of the net every time. And I love it, and it makes a massive difference. And yes, it's exactly the same whether it's a 7-iron, driver, wedge. For my driver, I won't hit my driver because I've got my tees out. But again, driver, I can feel that grip on top, more so with the driver. Because when I put those natural forces in and I pull myself out here, my club face is always square because I'm hitting in that position here. Okay, I'm able to get behind it and apply pressure with my right arm behind the ball. Whereas if I had my neutral grip, which we were taught for a long time, and then I push my pressures in, my club face is now turned, it's now facing to the right hand side, and I'm going to have to manufacture something now to try to square that off. So don't neglect your grip, take your time with it, work with it, and it's well worth working on if you can actually get the grip correct. It's going to apply much better compression to the ball. It's going to hit the ball straighter for one, and you should find you'll get a lot more power and distance from it, because you're going to be able to swing freer and in more control, knowing that the ball isn't going to go offline too much. Okay, so just from here I can set up and through, and I can fire off towards a target. Love it. It's one of those things that I wished I'd learned this many years ago. So change your grip, give it a go. Honestly, it will change your game dramatically. First session might be a bit iffy, but give it by the second session, you'll start to really see a difference in how the ball flies. So there you have it, okay, it's the golf grip. It's the most often overlooked part of the game because people don't like to change it because it feels comfortable to them, and they don't want to change something that feels right, okay. It can't be that because it's got to be something else, okay. But often it's the cause, not the effect, okay. The grip can actually be causing you a lot of grief in the golf course, so I really recommend you go back to it. I know I've done videos on it before, but the grip is really vital because it's really the hub of the golf swing, okay. It's what's going to make you hit the ball a lot better and a lot more, and give it a lot more control. All right, so remember, left hand needs to sit in its comfortable position. If you just let your arm hang down in front of you, you'll notice that the hand kinks in. Unless you've had some injury and you can't turn that hand in, it hangs straight, then that's fine. That's your neutral grip. Just let your arm hang down in front of you, then take hold of the club. Make sure it runs through the fingers, all right? Don't let it run in through the palm. Keep it into the fingers. I like to let it go right across the fingers now, the base of the fingers. I used to do it diagonally, but now I do it right across. I can feel it. It's a lot more hinging. You can see my palm is barely on the club at all. All right. We can often tell with golfers they start wearing patches out up here on their gloves because they're not holding it properly and it's rubbing around. Okay, they haven't got a proper grip on it, not stability enough. All right. In the fingers, I've got it locked in. If you're struggling with that, change your grips. Okay, go for thinner grips. It might be they're too fat for you. Okay, too thick. Go for thinner grips. You'll be able to get it more into the fingers. But the grip is very important because if you get the grip correct, you'll be able to just hit it a lot further and a lot straighter with ease. All right, give it a go, give it a chance. First session might be tricky. Second session, hopefully you'll get it right. But anyway, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please remember to like. I don't get enough likes. Obviously, I don't do enough great content. I don't know. Please give me a like, give me a share. Please subscribe as well. I'd like to get this channel going a little bit quicker than it is, and I really appreciate to those who are subscribers already. Please pass it on, and I'll love you forever. Anyway, thank you very much. Hopefully that helps, and I'll catch you next week.